Good day, everyone. Let's take a look into one of the challenges from session management, specifically session management challenge 1, and let's see how we can solve it. Okay. So usually session management is where the applications will identify who you are, like a regular user or a privileged user. And based on how they identify you, they'll try to respond, they'll try to give you specific kind of controls. For example, in this case, it will identify me if I'm a privileged user or not, administrator or not. And if I am administrator, it will provide me some other sensitive details. Okay. However, as of now, I'm not. I'm just a regular user. So if I click on administrator only button, it says that I am not an admin. Okay. So let's see what kind of vulnerabilities or how it is misconfigured so that we can actually use the vulnerability to get administrative access. Okay. For that, we can use any interception proxy softwares like Zap or Bobsuit. Let's start with Zap. Let's see how it goes. So I'll be using the Zap internal browser to handle these activities. So let's see. Okay, start. Now what I'll do is I'm going to click on manual explore and I'm going to provide my target URL in that particular address bar and click on launch browser. I think I can close the existing one, but I'll just keep it for backup. So I need to log in here. Give me a moment. I'm just going to type my credentials. Okay, I have just entered my credentials. Now let's quickly navigate to session management challenge 1. And as I'm accessing all this, you should be able to see the traffic coming over here. As you can see, I'm just making all these, communications. Okay. Let's see, breakpoints, HTTP sessions. This is one of the sessions that I have right now with the target. And you can also find out a lot of other things like fuzzer, parameters and all of that. So what I will do is I'm just going to go and initiate the transaction again. Let's see how it will look like over here in this app. And the challenges as of now, you can see that it only has the access that I got as initial, control. But if I try to access it as administrator, let's see what kind of request it will make to verify if I'm the administrator or not. Okay. So if I click on administrator only button, here you can see that a new post request is generated. And if I explore the post request, I'm going to open that so I can see how it looks like. So this is what it looks like. We have the basic URL, post request URL, and basic details like user agent, referrer, content type. The interesting stuff starts from the cookie. So typically web applications will use cookie values to store some information about the user, like preferences and also session values. So that's a good place to investigate what's going on. Okay. So I can see that there's a checksum value available. Typically checksums will be used to verify if the packet is intact or not. So that could be a good place to verify. And similarly, we have a session ID value. So this is my current user session ID value. For a reference, let me just copy that and I'll put it into a notepad or something so I can refer to that later if I want. Okay. Similarly, I had a token and the token is looking like this. Again, I'm going to put that into my command prompt so I can see that later. Not copied. I click copy. Okay. So what else do I have? I have some kind of things, elements over here. Doesn't look very interesting. However, below you can see we have some parameters called as admin detected equal to false, return password equal to false, and upgrade user to admin is also false. Okay, so what happens if I make them true? Right now it says admin detected not. If I change it to true, will that make the web application think I am the administrator? Let's see. Only one way to find out. Let's change this also to true. Maybe I'll be able to see the password of the admin. Maybe I can log into admin account in that way also. So we'll check that. And also trying to upgrade my current user into admin. That's one other way to do that as well. So let me try all of them. And once I have modified my packet, I'm going to use the send button here. I'll click on send. And here it is not what we have expected. So it says that hack detected, which means whatever parameter tampering that we tried to do, it thought that I'm trying to hack. Obviously, that's what we are trying to do. So it detected that and it stopped my attack. So seems like that's a very good way, but they already thought about it and then they have implemented some kind of measures to prevent that. So yeah, that's both good and also bad. A way to identify it is not good, and also a way to counteract that is very good. Okay, so apart from this, what I can do is, let me change it back to normal so it doesn't trigger it anymore. False and false. Okay, so the next only thing that I can do here is handling this session ID values using jsession ID and token. The problem with JSession ID and token are these looks like completely randomized hash values and randomized number values. Uh, Getting something out of them might not be that easy. Okay. However, the checksum on the other hand looks interesting. Okay. Why it looks interesting compared to these two values? Checksum is actually a clearly identifiable base 64 value. Okay, base 64 is a encoding mechanism mostly used for web applications and others. And I can identify that by this equal to equal. Okay, so usually base 64 sometimes will have equal to or equal to in the ending to indicate that it's base 64. So that's interesting. Let me see what it is. So good thing we have our own encoder and decoder within the Zap. So I don't have to use any other websites. See, I selected that, right click, and I can see that encode decode hash. So if I open the encode decode hash, and if I go to decode tab, I see something interesting called user role equal to user. Okay, so that makes sense. Right now it's identifying me as a user. And what if I'm not user? What could I be? Okay, so is there any other accounts? Maybe potentially an admin account. Okay, so what I will do is I'll go to the box, text box, and I'm going to say user role equal to admin. Okay, and I'm going to go to encode tab to get an encoded value. Okay, and that encoded value I am going to use in the place of this existing value. Earlier, this value means user role equal to user. Now I'm going to replace that with user role equal to admin, and let's see how it is going to react. Okay. So if I click on send, let's see how it will react. Okay, that did not work. It says still I'm not admin. It says stay away from admin only section, etc. etc. So what went wrong? Let's go back to the web application and see. Okay. Administrators, only administrator button. So I gave admin. What if it's administrator again? Name can be different, right? So let me go back. Let me change that to administrator. Maybe not just admin, but maybe administrator. So what I'll do is right click, encode decode, user role equal to admin. You take that, copy, and you say administrator, the full name. Okay. So yeah, let me take this encoded value, copy, replace that with the existing user role equal to admin, the short word, replace that with a long word, and let's see what kind of response we'll get with this. Okay. So if I click on send, that's different. Yes, it says admin only club. Can I zoom? Can't zoom. It says admin only club. Welcome administrator. Your result key is as follows. And then we have some kind of script. I think that's gonna pop up or print that particular value for me. Okay. So yeah, seems like that worked. Okay. Now same thing I'm going to do in the browser, so I can see that in the browser. Okay. So close this particular request editor, open the history, select the request that I already have. Now here, change the cookie value to user role equal to administrator. I already have it in my clipboard. So if I click on replay in browser, that's gonna happen in the browser again. So I should be able to see the response over here. See, welcome administrator, your result key is as follows. Like I told you earlier, the extra value is being extracted in a separate representation like a text box. Now copy that, go back to your web application, enter your key. Let's see if this is a key that we are looking for or not. As you can see, solution submission success. Okay. So this is a flag, and this flag will have to copy, and we have to go to our web interface where we can submit flags. Let me open that. Give me a moment. Okay, so here is my flag submission panel, and here click on the flag, submit a flag, paste your flag value over there, click on submit flag. Done. So yeah, like that, we can explore. So the outcomes of this particular activity that we have done is, what I have observed is there are some insecure methods available. However, the administrator tried to implement some kind of security measures, but it's not like super great. Because of that, we still able to um, decode the values and get what we wanted by tampering the values, and then make the application think that we are the real administrator user. Okay. So yeah, follow this particular walkthrough and get the flag and submit, and we'll see you again in the next walkthrough.